Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Marjana's Kitchen, where today we're going to show you how to make these delicious super soft cinnamon pretzel bites. These are delicious and super addictive, and they are so easy to make. So what are you waiting for? Let's get baking. Okay, then we're going to start off firstly by having 1 cup of warm water, about 45 to 50 degrees. Use a thermometer if you can. We're going to pour it into a larger jug and add some yeast, about 1 packet. It's about 2 1/4 teaspoon of instant yeast. Add 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. The yeast loves the sugar. You'll see it bubble up and start fermenting. Mix it really well, and then cover it with some cling film and leave it to stand for about 10 minutes. It should foam up and bubble up. Alright, so after 15 to 10 minutes, you can clearly see that the yeast has risen quite dramatically. It's gone really puffy. So I'm going to pour it all into a large mixing bowl at the moment. Use a spoon as it gets stuck to the jug. Give it a little stir around. Now add to the bowl 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. This will keep the dough nice and moist. Add 1/4 cup of brown sugar, or demerara sugar if you've got some. 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to mix it really well until all the sugar has dissolved into the liquid. You can add some vanilla essence or caramel flavouring or any flavouring you like at the moment. Alright, after you've given it a good mix, we're going to add in the last 2 ingredients, which is 2 cups of bread flour. Plain flour will also do if you can't get your hands on any at the moment of all this lockdown and rubbish. It's really hard to get any ingredients at the moment in some shops. So believe it or not, this is the final ingredient. Just give it a good mix then and until it forms a nice soft dough, not too sticky and not too dry. You should be able to play with it with your hands and mould it into a nice clean dough. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of flour onto the worktop or the counter now, just so I can make it easier to work with the dough. I'm going to transfer the dough from the bowl and put it onto the worktop. We're going to knead the dough until it's nice and elasticated. And I'm going to knead this now for about 5 minutes. Okay, so moving on to the next step now. I'm going to grab a large bowl and grease it all up. Make sure you get it all over the bowl. Put the dough into the coated bowl and flip it around, coating all the dough. Then cover it with a cling film and put it into a warm, draft-free location. You can also put it into 100 degrees switched off oven. Let the dough rise for about 1 hour. Okay, so the dough has nicely risen now. Look at it, it's doubled in size. It's lovely, puffed up now. I'm going to add a little bit of flour onto the worktop. I'm going to plop the dough onto the counter. I'm going to punch out some of the air. Make sure you preheat your oven as well, about 200 degrees. Also line the baking tray with greaseproof paper and set it aside. Flip the dough out, rip it in half. It's easy to work in 2 halves. Now what we're going to do is just tear off little balls equally and roll them into balls. They don't have to be perfect, smooth, round-shaped balls at this point. They smooth themselves out when they're in the oven. Repeat with both pieces and all of the dough pieces as well. Okay, once you've done all your cinnamon pretzel bites, we're going to add hot water into a large bowl and add some bicarbonate of soda, about 2 tablespoons. Mix it in really well. Then we're going to add each of these pretzel bites into the water for about 30 seconds each. I'm going to drain the excess water and place them onto a baking sheet. By doing this process, you're going to Give your cinnamon bites a classic pretzel taste. You know, that little taste on the outside of every pretzel you get. And it will also keep your rolls from getting too puffy in the oven, you know. We don't want them to have massive bread rolls. We want it to have a nice pretzel texture. And this is exactly what's going to give it to you. Okay, once you finish doing all your cinnamon bites, it's ready to bake these beauties until they're nice and golden brown. Bake them for about 15 minutes in a 200 degrees centigrade oven on the middle higher shelf. And while they're baking, I'm going to melt half a cup of unsalted butter. It says salted there, but it should be unsalted. Add a few drops of caramel flavour into the butter. Give it a nice mix in. And then in another bowl, add half a cup of white sugar and 1/3 cup of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon powder. You can add less or more actually. I did 2 tablespoons. Give it a good mixture and there you have it. Cinnamon sugar. It's quite simple really and delicious. Now that the pretzel bites have baked, remove them from the oven. Let them cool off slightly as they're too hot to handle. Give them a good shake so they don't stick to the paper, or unstick I should say. Now grab your sugar and butter and dunk these beauties into the butter one at a time or 2 at a time, or however many you can handle, and then pop them into sugar and coat them. These are absolutely delicious, guys. I can't believe I made these. These are probably the 3rd time I've ever made these, and I probably won't make it again because I ate 10 of them in one go and I felt, I didn't feel really well actually. But if you do make them, you know, make them at your own peril and be careful that you don't eat them all in one go. But they are super delicious and so easy to make. Thank you for watching another episode of Marjana's Kitchen. We hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to subscribe, share and like and comment. Thanks for watching.